Hi, this is Jason Marsden. I'm at MetroCon 2018, and you're watching The Raven's Flock with Angel. It was a pleasure to be here.
Welcome to another episode of The Raven's Flock.
Howdy, guys.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, man, it's been such a wonderful time, and we thank you all for keeping up with our content.
And for those of you who are first-time viewers, after 6 years, I don't know how you could be, we are the Raven's Flock. We go to anime conventions here in Florida, and hopefully beyond someday. We interview attendees and guests of the conventions, and we discuss topics that are close to the heart of the geek community, to the cosplayers, to the people who come to these cons to try and enjoy themselves and generally not be ostracized.
It is good to once again stand before you. It is good to once again chill with you guys. And as usual, it is good to sit here, to have a meeting, and talk with our fellow nerds about the things that you like, but most likely about the things that you don't.
Of course, absolutely. And for us, it's been a hell of a month for July.
An exhausting one, you mean?
Yeah. What are you talking about July? We're beyond July. This is after July.
I
what
know.
happened in July?
Well, I'll tell you what happened in July. We had a hell of a 4-day experience at a convention where a lot has happened. Too much to freaking count. We just got out of one of the popular Florida conventions in town called MetroCon. It was over in Tampa, Florida, at the Tampa Convention Center. Somewhere in I guess middle July.
No, this is the last weekend.
Last weekend in July. Yeah, let's call it that.
It was, regardless, of course, a fantastic weekend, and as expected of every con, there was overpriced merchandise, plenty of cosplayings, friends and foes, and we even had Bible thumpers. It was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't be a proper con without psychotic Bible thumpers outside protesting for no reason.
I would have been disappointed if a priest wasn't yelling at me about how much I was living in sin.
If you
know, with all the not crime I've been doing lately.
If you want to hear more about our experiences at MetroCon, tune into the Black Files. We have our recap split up in parts 1 and 2, available on SoundCloud, iTunes, and of course on YouTube.
And speaking of YouTube, why don't we show the fine folks on YouTube what we managed to see at this year's MetroCon?
Absolutely. Hit it! And there you have it, folks. We had a hell of a time, and if you're one of the people out there who went to Metro, I hope you enjoyed it just the same.
It was a very nice experience overall.
It's
Just the same of what? And what experience are you talking about? You were there less than half the convention.
I know, but the fact that I was only there for like a day and a half and I still enjoyed myself that much, that says a lot about the con itself, don't you think?
okay. You know what?
That's a nice save.
You know what? He's pardoned. He's fine. Okay.
Yeah, you're granting pardons left and right.
Yeah!
And you know what? It doesn't matter, because even if you're just there for a day, you're still having a wonderful time. After all, you're surrounded by geeks from all over, or from everywhere. Cosplayers, artists, photographers, etc. Now, for those who cosplay, you know, they put a lot of time and effort into doing their own works, whether it's, you know, arts and crafts and sewing, or, you know, doing any like picture work or any of that stuff.
Or if they're also doing commissions for other folks as well.
Yes,
That is true.
that is also true. They put their time and effort into their creations, and as such, they are respected and honored for their accomplishments.
At least they ought to be. Of course, there's going to be people who love to, with the advent of the internet and the advent of anonymity, try to claim their own artwork as not theirs. They like to claim other people's work and say that, oh, they did it. You've seen the meme at this point, folks. You'll have somebody come up with a picture of some nice little thing, coming up to some sourpuss dude. Hey, I made this. You made this? Gives it to them. I made this.
Yeah.
You know what? As a matter of fact, for the slide, I'm going to go ahead and just show these guys.
Might as well. It's free.
Yeah. But at some point or another, somebody came up with that piece of artwork, and people have turned it into a meme. Which, in and of itself, isn't too horrible, but when it comes to artwork that folks in our beautiful little geek world likes to produce, whether it's fan art, whether it's a prop or a costume, or if they're making artwork of another fandom that they like, that they enjoy, but they're putting their own twist on it. Those artists put their time, money, effort, and their creativity into those pieces of art, and they deserve the recognition and the credit that comes along with it.
It is no secret to the rest of this vlog that my favorite part of the con is the dealer's room, because I am terribly irresponsible with my money. That's inevitable.
I could attest to that. As a matter of fact, I did, but let's keep going.
Yeah, that'll be a story for another time. More importantly is the fact that in the dealer's room we have the artist gallery and their artist rooms, where they take the time, the effort to set up their little shop, put out their products, and show what they can do and how they can do it. In fact, there was a couple of them that we tried to interview and we were unable to because they were so busy with their own work.
They were swarmed with people wanting to consume their artwork.
Nice job,
with money,
guys. Very good job. Unfortunately, when you get down to it, whether you like it or not, it is an industry. And in every industry, there's going to be somebody out there who is going to try to take advantage of it. Be it take advantage of your goodwill or take advantage of your vulnerability to steal your work and pass it off as theirs. And that is the thing that we're going to talk about today specifically.
we're not strangers to this ourselves in the Ravens flock. We've actually, for the first time ever, earlier this year, had to put a notification up whenever people are wanting to use photos that we've produced, which clearly shows the Ravens flock's logo, and has clearly been shown the first time around after we introduced it that this was a product created by the Ravens flock. You know, whenever we take photos of our conventions that we cover, we had to, for the first time ever, put a public notice saying, if you're going to use a photo that we created, please either keep the watermarks that we put on there or give us credit in your description. Then it was a beautiful little catastrophe, but thankfully we managed to weather that one out.
Call me the captain of understatements here, but yes, it was a terrible, annoying inconvenience that we had to deal with, and unfortunately, we're not the only ones who suffered from it.
No, you're right.
I kind of feel happy that we are now become well enough that people are stealing our shit.
You know you've made it when people are trying to plagiarize from
A man is known not for his friends, but for his enemies.
Pretty much.
But like you mentioned earlier, we're not the only ones who have to deal with this stuff. There are colleagues of ours who go into fan artwork, or they actually get commissioned to create a costume or a prop, and when it comes time to collect your due, they get shafted afterwards. The person who they commissioned it for decides, you know what, I'm not going to pay you. No, I'm not going to give you the credit you deserve. I'm just going to take this, claim that it is mine, and I'm not going to pay you the $3,000 that I owe you. Because apparently that's something that people like to do now.
It is rather unfortunate indeed. If I may throw a bone out there, actually, I had an anecdote on this one.
Go ahead.
Before we actually started. Back in the heyday, yes, I'm going back to my day, you damn kids. Before I actually met you two, believe it or not. This was a while ago. Back when DeviantArt was a thing that existed and actually had like prevalence in this world. Yeah, there was this artist, and this is probably going to be the most useless plugin in the world.
Go right ahead.
His name is Endling, and he described himself in DeviantArt as the blackest white man you'll ever meet.
Okay.
He liked to do a lot of horror art based on fairy tales, very Tim Burton-esque. He even had his own little comic book, comic running, where characters from fairy tales were in an asylum because they'd been driven insane. Like Little Red Hood was this crazy murderer that killed people with a bone saw, and the Big Bad Wolf was just like a gigantic biological weapon that went out of control, and so on and so forth. It was actually a fairly interesting comic. And then one day, he posted his own comic where he made fun of the fact that people were stealing his designs and using them to make really cheap, really shitty anime-looking knockoffs. And I'm like, your design is Little Red Riding Hood. It's kind of hard to steal something you're already taking from public property. And he's like, no, yeah, that's how they do it. Now, unfortunately, Endling is no longer like active. I haven't seen his work in years because he went through a disease where I don't know exactly what happened. His organs exploded. He recovered, but he never went back to doing art that I know of. But I didn't realize it back then. That was the first time I ever heard of people just straight up stealing your art and trying to use it for their own benefit.
Pretty much, it's downright disrespectful, and it's a cheap route to try and get some sort of fame or success
or notoriety,
or
just if people are being vindictive, like, oh hey, I'm stealing your artwork because I can, because screw you. There's no need for that. There's no reason for it.
And what's worse is that in these situations, like sometimes it escalates to even higher and unnecessary conflicts. That shouldn't even have to be.
Yeah. Before long, you have to try to get yourself set up with an intellectual property lawyer. You gotta have to get cease and desist orders written up. You gotta have it vetted by an attorney. You have to mail it to people.
Slap your logo everywhere.
Yeah, for real. I don't know if you see how many watermarks people have to put on these days so that no one can steal their stuff.
Which is really unfortunate.
Or they go the opposite route, where they have their watermark in an inconspicuous yet uneditable place. Like it's like the centerpiece of the artwork, but it's like curved, like text that's just curved around the side of like a figure in there.
Whether you like it or not, technically doing that is essentially a crime. Because if these people do their art for a living, when you steal their work for the sake of doing the art for a living, you're essentially taking a paycheck out of their mouths. And let's be honest, an artist is already struggling enough without having to take your shit out of you. Also, I have seen some of the people that have traced works from to steal them from others. I actually did some research on this, and it occurs to me, if you are this good at tracing, you might as well put in some more effort and just do your own thing.
Yeah, and that brings me to, since I'm sort of focusing on cosplays and stuff, that brings me to folks who are literally ripping off ideas from other animes or from other artworks and making an OC when it's really just a character. When it's really just a character from that anime.
Oh boy! Here's an idea, guys. Go to Google, go to the image bar, and type Ruby OC.
Yeah.
You're going to find such it's like watching an image styling. You ever seen that movie with the Cenobites? What's it called?
Isn't that Hellraiser?
Yeah, imagine Hellraiser in visual form shot through your eyeballs.
Yeah, no thank you.
Here's a better one for you guys. Type your name plus the hedgehog.
Okay, yeah, shut up. You can shut up now. Alright, so besides us, during our awesome 4-day experience at MetroCon, we actually got a chance to talk to some of the artists and vendors during the convention. So let's hear their stories out.
And thank you kindly for joining us again. This is Angel from the Ravens Flock. We are at the third day of the con. It's getting busy and it's getting noisier, but we get to see the fun cosplays. And speaking of fun stuff, we get good old sweet merchandise here from the shirts of Creative Image Design, to which I have their head designer and programmer and representative, Mr. Steve. How are you doing today, my man?
Fine and you, sir. It's good to see you guys again.
Always happy.
Always a fun time with you guys. Thanks for coming to the show, and everybody else who's seeing this, you should be here.
Yes, they should. Seriously, they get good stuff. Now, let's be honest. You've been doing this for quite some time. I've seen you in pretty much every con I've been to so far. I don't know how you do it, man.
No sleep.
You got that explains it.
No sleep whatsoever.
We'll be making an episode about that one next time. So we gotta be honest. At the end of the day, whether we like it or not, the con is an industry, and an industry forms a business, and a business has competition.
Oh yes.
We've been hearing some rumors. There's been reports and such of people having art stolen and Progressive taken away from them because sometimes the projects are not quite as safe as they usually be. I understand you're one of the few people that's managed to avoid that because you guys have been keeping it pretty straight, and I want to know, how do you do it, man?
Well, first and foremost, one of the biggest things was we had incidents where we've dealt with other people and dealing with them. We've had that issue happen where you know they come in representing themselves as one thing, and it turns out it's a completely other thing. To avoid that, we then hired our team of artists, our direct team of artists, which we only work with exclusively, and that way that cuts down on a lot of that and keep it all in-house.
Keep it in-house. So close to the best in the contract kind of thing?
There you go.
That's good, that's smart. Have you actually ever had any close calls with somebody getting a little too close for comfort with your business on that one?
In the early days, yes, we did. But like I said, to resolve that, we got rid of whatever bad influences we may have had and any misrepresentation that was going on, and we went direct. So my guys, I can literally watch them do it as they do it, so I know it's coming directly, and I never have to worry about that.
Would you consider that to be the advice to give to anybody trying to open a future business on this? Keep it
would.
close to the vest?
Keep it close to the vest. Look at what you're getting. Don't fall for just anything, because there's a lot of smooth talkers out there. We got at one point, and just to fix it all, we made sure that we are all complete. So you guys have seen our work all over the place. You won't find it anywhere else, so feel free.
Well, there you have it, people. That was the call from Mr. Steve from Image Creative Design. It's been a pleasure having you with us today, sir. Thank you kindly.
Thank you so much.
Any last words you want to throw to your potential customers?
Look forward to us at seeing you at another con. We're going to be at all of them in Florida. Please come through and give these guys your best.
There you have it, man. The man with a plan has spoken. The name is Angel, and we'll see you around.
Take care.
And we are now back on the Artist Alley. Back over there, we were looking at the business. Now we're checking out the part of the fancy art that is kind of technically also business. I got with me Mr. Jay Conning from the Jay Conning Art. Fantastic artwork you got here, man. How are you doing today?
Good. I can't complain. It's a Saturday. It seems pretty busy, so it's looking good.
It is the third day of the con, so we're finally getting some mass production in the area. How are you feeling so far?
Good. I mean, I've made some sales. Customers seem to respond well to the work, so I can't complain.
Fantastic. Now, I understand that you've been doing this for quite some time now.
Yeah, this is my second year of doing shows.
Very good.
And I think I'm getting the hang of it. It's still a lot to learn, but so far so good.
Practice makes perfect. And speaking of practice, I can see that you are doing some fantastic artwork here.
Thank you.
Loving what you're doing, and this speaks of talent and practice. But let's be honest, this is property. And
Sure.
property, as long as it exists, will be in danger of thievery. So let me ask you something. Have you ever run into a position or a point in your career as an artist when somebody has put you in a point where they almost took your art? Have you ever experienced the risk of intellectual property theft?
You know, I can't say that I have, just because I'm so new at this, the con scene and the con circuit so far. But I know that it exists, and I know that I have seen vendors that tend to rip off work. So it is a danger that I do have to try to protect myself against with the internet and so sort of copyright law being so gray these days. I don't know what I can do, but all I can do is sort of retain my own authenticity and hope that people recognize who I am and what my work is, and that's pretty much all I can do at this point.
That's fabulous, man. Now, that being said, aside from that, has there been any particular of these pieces that has given you more trouble than any other one to actually draw?
No, not that I know of.
See, that speaks of talent. I like that joke.
Oh, great.
That being said, though, you mentioned that you're trying to take steps to protect your art.
Sure.
What would you consider that to be?
I think that keeping a very sort of active social media presence allows people to understand who the artist is and whether their work is authentic to them or not. If you don't really keep active on social media, I find that people can confuse, plagiarism, and they can sort of take what's theirs and reappropriate it. One of the things I like to do online is watermark all my images. So, I find that if someone likes an image, they will go back to my website and see who I am. But yeah, that's typically what I do.
In a sense, it has become your personal form of copyright, the watermark itself. It's your own way of going, this is my thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's my personal form of copyright, but it's my personal way of saying, hey, this is my interpretation of something I like, and that's the way I want it.
Very nice. Well, I appreciate it kindly the moment that you've taken for us. And any words you have out there for your fans?
No, I guess just keep making good work and enjoy what you do, and I hope to see you at a convention soon.
There you have it, people. Words from an artist and love for the people out there. Thank you kindly for joining us today, Jay. It has been a pleasure working
Thanks,
with
Jose.
you.
Appreciate it.
This is Angel from the Ravens Flock. We are signing out.
Welcome, folks. This is the disembodied voice of Juan Arouse at MetroCon 2018. I'm pulling double duty, and I am joined by one of the partners at Squeeze Studio over here. Say hi, and their name is Coco. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for taking time off of your really busy and fascinating booth, by the way. I was actually, we were actually, as I mentioned earlier, on this episode of the Ravens Flock, we're discussing, art plagiarism, whether it's someone ripping off someone else's cosplay design, or if it's original artwork that other people may have tried to pass off as their own. We've heard that you guys have had an experience that wasn't really good. I don't know if you could tell us about it a little bit.
Yes, actually, we had one of our designs, specifically some of our Overwatch designs, actually, were stolen and put on a limited T-shirt run type thing, where they have the limited T-shirt for a certain amount of days, and then it was also put on leggings.
It was on leggings, and you didn't see a dime. No one's credited you for any of it.
Not a dime. We didn't see how many of those were sold, so we don't know how many are out there.
Oh my goodness.
They took them down once we found out about them, but we actually had one of our fans tell us that it was stolen. We didn't even see it
If you could speak into the mic. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We didn't see a dime of anything. We didn't know how many were sold. All of it, we found out about it from a third party. Like a fan of ours was like, "Hey, isn't this your art?" And we were like, yes, it is.
Oh my goodness! Do you have any idea of how long it was up?
For the T-shirt designs, those were only up for a day or two, just because by virtue of how those work, they're only ever up for 3 days.
Right.
But for the leggings, those could have been up for weeks.
Oh my goodness, that is wild. What happened after you managed to find out about it? Did you guys put a complaint in with the website, or what happened after that?
We put a complaint in with the website. Luckily, after proving that it was our work and our work was predated, because we do go through and we post a lot of our work online first, either in our Etsy store or in our online gallery. We proved to them that, hey, this is our artwork, and they did take it down. But again, there's nothing they could do about the designs that were already out there. So anybody who already bought them previously.
Oh my goodness, that is wild. So as far as your current artwork now, have you come up with anything to prevent this from happening again, or do you know if anything else has gone on since then?
A lot of what we do to prevent that kind of thing happening is we do put watermarks on all of our designs now.
All right, that's good. That's a
and
relief.
we do, what we do post online is at a lower resolution, so it's not friendly for those higher res posts.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And you would need a higher resolution image if you wanted to try to sell it anyway, because it's got to be printed on. So
Exactly.
I guess that makes perfect sense if you're going to have it up for sale in the future, to keep a low-res version with a watermark, and then after they pay, you can send them a download link for it, or...
We actually sell all of our art on physical items, so that's another thing that kind of stops it, is anything that we're selling is going to be on a physical item. We do have digital items, but those we, again, heavily watermark, and they don't get that design until they've paid for it.
I get you. All right. No, that's actually rather sensible. That makes perfect sense. All right, awesome. I appreciate your time and appreciate you taking your time off to address this with us. And real quick, I don't know if you had any message to your fans out here, or if how we may want to actually legitimately support you and your partners here on your actual artwork.
With it, no major messages. We are doing some really cool stuff. Later this year, we're hoping to do a Kickstarter for enamel pins. It'll be our first venture into it. We found a supplier we like. So if you want to support us, you can buy from our Etsy or keep a lookout. We do have a Tumblr. It's going to be Squeeze Studio. on tumblr.com. So squeezestudio.tumblr.com.
Gotcha. All right. I appreciate your time over here, Coco. Thank you again very much for your time here. This is once again the disembodied voice of Juan Rouse interviewing for the Ravens Flock, and we are out.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those who we've interviewed for giving us your time and your input.
And your contact information.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, that's it. But getting right back to the point, they basically share the same. They basically share the same opinions that we have. The fact that these people exist and they copy off others' artwork and plagiarize it as their own is absolutely insulting
And unacceptable and kind of illegal.
Now, the good news is, as we saw in the interview, the artists themselves have already resorted to measures to make sure it doesn't happen. But it's still pretty sad that we live in a time that this kind of danger is a present danger, where not even the act of pursuing your art and mastering your craft is free from the fact that somebody might steal it and claim it as their own.
But it shouldn't have to be that way.
It shouldn't, but sadly, as long as there's a system, people will try to exploit it.
You're going to try to rustle some jimmies to get themselves a quick buck.
Because they're bastards like that.
Well, yeah, exactly. But there are other ways to get yourself to put your name out there without doing it at the expense of somebody else.
Create your own shit.
Exactly. Put in the time. It's never too late to learn something new. Put in the time and effort to learn something, to learn how to sew or learn how to draw, even if it's just sketches. It's still a step forward.
More importantly, though, this kind of thing is something that is almost always guaranteed to go wrong. Let's say you're stealing art for the sake of making a quick buck. And assuming they don't find out, how else are you going to keep making money? Are you going to keep stealing art? Because that means you're going to leave a trail. Eventually somebody's going to find out. And if you do it by tracing art, eventually the original artist is going to know that somebody is aping their style. It is like the kind of thing that is doomed to fail no matter what happens.
Another thing that has to be considered is once you're found out that you're plagiarizing other people's stuff, that you're ripping them off, or that you're trying to pass off something that was created by someone else as your own original creation. And since I was mentioning cosplays and commissions on that end, I'm going to be calling out the elephant in the room. Or rather, perhaps I should say the cow in the room.
Touch
All
the
right,
cow.
amen. Touch the cow. I mean,
do it now.
I'm not going to
touch it with caution.
I'm not going to be cautious. This cow deserves it.
All right.
And I'm talking about Mariah Mallard, aka Momokun. Now, she's long since been thrown under the bus. Everyone already knows about the controversy of her grabbing people without permission in a sexual manner.
Not cool, dude.
But another thing that she's also very well known for, aside from having absolutely no standards and willing to do anything for a quick buck and for quick, cheap fame, is ripping off other people's artwork as her own. For example, and this is one of the most ridiculous examples I've ever come across in my time in the con scene, she rips off a character from an animated hentai called Milk Party, which takes place, which tells the tale of a cow that is transformed into a girl in a cow bikini and is thenceforth taken advantage of in a sexual manner. For anyone over the age who's 18 and up and can sensibly enjoy hentai, I strongly recommend that you ignore this shit anyway, because it's stupid.
No, see, here's the problem. You told them what the name was, so now there's already somebody searching for it right now.
The only thing we could tell them to do is not to look up Momokun.
No, but now with the Streisand effect, people are going to look up Momokun. And you'll see that one of the most prominent photos of her is her in a cow bikini with pink hair and with cow horns, and saying, "Oh no, this is my original character. I'm calling her Moo-Moo-Kun. Get it? Because it's a cow, Moo-Moo." No, we don't get it. You ripped off a f***ing hentai, and I just broke the F barrier. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'll bleep myself out.
Dude,
Isn't
it's fine.
this the latest we ever broken the F barrier in this game?
Yes, it is. But you know what? I'll bleep myself up with our bird. It's a disgrace to try to get yourself off on a hentai character and get yourself a costume based on that. What kind of thought pattern is that? I guess it's the kind of thought pattern of someone who says, "Let me grab somebody's butt to get their attention," because there's nothing wrong with that, apparently.
See, here's the issue. It's not the fact that she cosplay the character. I don't care if you cosplay hentai. Hell, you can cosplay whatever the hell you want to. I ain't gonna stop you. It's the fact that she cosplayed a character that is clearly from a hentai, but she claimed that it was her own, when it blatantly effing wasn't.
It really wasn't!
I mean, dude, I ain't gonna think less of you. I'm going to think actually a hell of a lot more of you because if you do that, but with point is, you did it, and then you claim it was your thing when it clearly was not your thing.
And then when
there was nothing to gain from this.
And then when we finally find out, and they're called out on it, Momokun just basically said, "Oh no, see, I made this change here. That means it's an OC." No, it's not. It's still the cow.
You're still ripping off from the original character.
It's like, hey guys, if I draw an entire Sonic model and I change the color of one spike, that means that he's now OC, do not steal.
That is stupid.
And he's the strongest of them all, and he controls the Chaos Emeralds, and he falls in love with Blaze the Cat, and blah, blah, blah.
Angel, let's get back to reality.
Yeah, we get the point.
The point is, don't try to rip off someone else's artwork, no matter how lewd, no matter where it comes from, and don't try to pass it as your own. Give the credit where it's due. Give the person who puts the artwork out there their credit. If somebody paid you to make a costume for them, you have the right to say, I made this costume, please let people know that I made this for you, so I can continue making costumes for people. That person has a responsibility to follow on that.
Absolutely. If you have to go out of your way to plagiarize somebody else's work just to gain a quick buck, or fame, or notoriety, or hits, likes, and reposts, then you really need to take a step back and reevaluate your life. You see, now I broke the barrier too. Go figure.
More importantly, you need to reevaluate.
I think you get one now too, Angel.
I have no intention of doing so. Don't worry. More importantly, you need to reevaluate because when people catch you for this, not only are you essentially outing yourself as the closest thing to an artist's criminal that exists, you're outing yourself as somebody who's going to ruin the reputation. The internet, yeah, they may say they forgive, but they never forget.
Ever.
So if you are outed as the person who steals art, it doesn't matter what you do after that, you will be always known as the person who steals art. That will follow you forever. And even if years pass and it fades away, as long as it remains on the internet, it will be forever on the internet, and you just can't get away from it.
Pretty much. And any chance of
all right.
And any chance of you trying to redeem yourself as a person in the eyes of everybody else will instantly be ignored.
Because they'll know your past, and the past doesn't go away. If you don't believe me, look what happened to James Gunn.
Pretty much. So as I stated before, it's not too late to learn something now. Hone your own craft. Take your time to learn a skill, whether it's sewing, whether it's drawing, painting, photography, etc. Put your name out there. Put your own work out there with your own original ideas and with your own original thought. And you will get the same respect and credit that every other artists and cosplayers and photographers have gotten over the years.
Not everybody who works hard succeed, but everybody who's ever succeeded are those who work hard. Please, keep that in mind.
Put the effort in.
And if you do get caught, this is going to take a huge measure of humility and selflessness, but own up to it. Take responsibility and just apologize. There's no need to escalate the situation where it involves the law.
No, but Joe, if I do that, I might have to take responsibility for my own mistakes and take accountability for my horrible failures.
But why would I want to do that? I just want people to know how much better I am.
Do you think people would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies? Good times.
Yeah, I know, but my point still stands. Take responsibility, grow up for goodness sake, and just apologize, and give the respect that is due to the original artist. Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of The Ravens Flock.
And you guys know what's coming next. Here comes our plugs. Continue to follow us on Facebook.com/TheRavensFlock, Twitter.com/RavensFlock13, Instagram.com/TheRavensFlockOnline, Patreon.com/TheRavensFlock. You can donate as little as $1 a month, or if you're watching this early, you've already donated at least $1 a month to gain early access to all our shows. The more you donate, the better prizes and perks that we can provide to you. Your money is helping support this channel. We appreciate every dollar that may come our way for this half independent journalism, half entertainment, all for the geek community and all for you. And of course, since you're watching this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ding the notification bell so you can continue to get updates from us here on youtube.com/TheRavensFlock.
And of course, do not forget that we have 2 other shows for you to peruse. We have The Black Files, where we talk a heck of a lot more and a heck of a lot louder with far less of a filter,
And more swearing.
A lot of swearing.
A lot of swearing.
as previously ever so gracefully stated by my co-workers here. You can catch that one on both YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes as well. And of course, you can join us where we play video games and try not to kill each other in Los Amigos Play, which can be found in our very same channel right here. Woo!
But wait, there's more.
Nani?
Are you going to tell them where to find us next?
Absolutely. Be sure to find us next on our next convention on the list. This one is called Lumi-Con.
Oh,
Lumi-Con will be held at the Tampa East Sheraton Hotel on October 26th through the 28th.
There are still tickets available, and if you're an artist or a vendor who doesn't want their artwork stolen, but does want an opportunity to sell their wares and sell their artwork, there are still tables available in the dealer's room. So go to lumi-convention.com for more details if you want that. Or just continue following us because we're going to troll the heck out of Lumi-Con while we're there and the ramp up for it.
Absolutely. Stop by, catch us during the weekend, and say hi to us as we continue to do what we do best.
And of course, since we have absolutely no control when it comes to our money, show us your art. We might find something fancy enough to make a commission ourselves.
Indeed, we appreciate you tuning in and watching us. Joseph, take us out.
Absolutely. We are the Ravens Flock, and we are out.